I woke up from an incomprehensible noise in the next room. It was some kind of unnatural noise that didn't sound like anything, as if someone was howling. A terrible howl made me wake up and took me beyond the peace of the night and a sense of security. I finally came to my senses, got out of bed and headed into this very room to check what it was. I went to the door and began to listen to the silence, but did not hear anything. Maybe I just dreamed. Plucking up courage, I entered the room and quickly turned on the light, but there was nothing there. I smiled. My soul immediately became calm, and I realized that it was all just a dream. What stupidity. After going to the kitchen to drink some water, I went back to bed. I was glad that this terrible night was over. After thinking a little, I headed to the kitchen to make myself some morning coffee. Having put on the kettle of water, I took out a can of coffee. Damn, it was empty. I didn't want to leave the house, but it looks like I have to, otherwise I'll feel like crap all day if I don't have a cup of coffee. Putting on my jacket, I went to a store that was located not far from my house. I always shop there. Oh crap, the elevator isn't working. What the hell? Okay, I'll walk up the stairs. You always need to remain optimistic. Having gone down several floors, I heard some knocking from above, as if someone was breaking in the door. The echo in the entrance intensified this sound. I felt uneasy. Probably the drunk neighbor lost the keys to the door, so he's breaking in. I can't stand drunks. I always considered them messengers of Satan. I hope someone calls the police. The street was deserted. No surprise though, it's Saturday. After the Friday partying, people are sleeping off. I looked at my watch, 11:06 a.m. Arriving at the store, I headed to the tea and coffee section. There was no one in the store either, with the exception of a young girl whose back was standing about 10 meters from me. After paying the cashier, I left the store. It started to rain. Who could have known? The weather was not bad in the morning, although it was quite cool. I hate autumn. It is so deceptive and variable, you never know what to expect from it. But on the other hand, it is a very cozy time of year. It's nice sometimes to separate yourself from the world and the problems surrounding us by watching a good movie with a cup of your favorite coffee. At times, it is simply necessary. Of course, I didn't have an umbrella. I decided to wait in the store until the rain calmed down. When I went back, I noticed that there was no one behind the cash register. Where did the cashier go? She probably went about her business. There was absolute silence in the store. Only drops of rain falling on the store window could be heard. I reached into my pocket for my phone to somehow entertain myself. But of course, I left it at home. I sat in the store for several hours, leafing through a magazine, lying on a table near the exit. During all this time, I did not see a single soul. No one came in or out. Didn't anyone really need to go to the store? This seemed very strange to me, perhaps because of the rain. Suddenly, I heard that the rain had stopped. I went outside to make sure of this. The rain seems to have stopped. Now I can go home. There were puddles all around. I walked quickly to my house. Entering the entrance, I saw that my shoes were leaving dirty footprints behind them. There was no rag anywhere where I could wipe my feet. At that moment, I felt pretty lousy because the entrance was clean before I arrived. But what can I do? I can't crawl on the ceiling, and the floor is easier to clean than the ceiling. Having pressed the button to call the elevator, I remembered that it was not working. Devil. I'll have to walk up. It was quite dark in the entrance, but you could see the steps, which were illuminated by the light pouring from a small window in the entrance. While I was going upstairs, I noticed that my steps seemed to make a duplicate sound, as if someone was walking in time with me. What nonsense, it's just an echo. Now I'm already on the 4th floor, 3 more floors and I'm home. Having risen to the 6th floor, I heard someone scratching the walls in the elevator car. I shuddered a little. Could there be a person in it who is stuck? I walked up to the elevator and knocked on the door several times. Nothing, only an echo. I asked if anyone was inside. Nobody answered me. It was dark in the elevator gap. You couldn't see anything. There's probably no one there. I walked away from him and was about to move on when suddenly I heard a knock, then another one. This sound came from the elevator. There was someone inside. I stopped and turned towards the elevator. To my great surprise, it began to go down. The elevator must have started working. But who was inside? Who knocked? I heard the elevator doors open on the 1st floor. Someone came out of it. I could clearly hear footsteps. Someone was inside. But I didn't hear the intercom door open. It makes a characteristic beeping sound when opened. This man must not have left the entrance. Is he still inside? But why doesn't he come out? As if standing still and waiting for something. The last thing I wanted was to go downstairs or call the elevator. What if this person needs help? I started listening, trying to hear some rustling noise to understand if there was anyone there. A wild, terribly soul-tearing laugh was heard below. I have never heard such a terrible laugh, even in my nightmares. It laughed in an inhuman voice. I got goosebumps. Stumbling over the steps, I ran to my door on the floor above. Dropping the keys from my hands, I opened the door and burst into the house. My heart was pounding as if it was going to burst out. What was it? It was not a human laugh. Who can laugh like that? It's like it pierces every cell of your mind, turning it inside out. I locked the door and started looking for my cell phone. Crap. Where is this damn phone? I didn't have a landline phone. Why do I need it? All these scams with bills, it is much more profitable to use a cell phone, I told myself. My windows faced the forest and old, abandoned private houses. I lived in an area that is on the outskirts of the city. There was no use screaming. It's unlikely that anyone will hear me. Most of the neighbors were away, and in general, relations with neighbors were very strained. More than a hello was not enough. I sat in the kitchen and waited for something terrible. The thoughts in my head were intertwined. I couldn't think of anything. I just sat and looked at the wall. I fell into a kind of stupor, suspended animation, waiting for the inevitable. It was getting dark outside. In the distance, the sounds of driving cars could be heard. I made myself some coffee. I just sat and drank it without thinking about anything. It's time to come to your senses. No matter what it was, it stayed there. I'm at home. It's safe here. It won't get to me. If he gets through, I'll be ready for it. Whatever it is, I'll be ready. I live on the 7th floor. This creature will not climb that high. What if this creature is already inside? Is it in my house? Is it here? Nearby? Breathing down my neck? I think I'm going crazy. You need to pull yourself together and calm down. Yes, this creature wants me to calm down, then she will definitely do this to me. She waits for me to go to bed. No, sleep makes me weak, vulnerable. I shouldn't sleep. I should always be ready. It will not take over me, my consciousness. Consciousness. Haven't I already lost my sanity? You need to get rid of him. Get this creature out of yourself. It has already taken possession of me. I feel how it controls my consciousness. This thing wants me to calm down. No. I'm smarter. I know what's really going on here. This is all he's doing. He always pushed me around. Die. Last night, local police discovered the mutilated body of a young man beyond recognition. Neighbors said they could hear screams and the sound of windows breaking. Crying was also heard, as if a child was crying on the landing. Police declined to comment on the incident, but they said this was not the first time such a suicide had occurred. There were also cases when victims ripped open their stomachs, trying to remove their entrails, and death occurred from bleeding. Strange inscriptions reminiscent of Latin were found on the wall. The glass was broken, but there were no glass shards on the body. Perhaps there was an accomplice. It looks like some kind of rite, ritual. I'm inclined to think that it was a sacrifice. Traces of dirt leading to the elevator were found on the landing.